In this month's market update, the word is down. Sales are down, interest rates are going down, visitors were down from this past summer, and the short-term vacation rental bill is not down, but in progress. That and a lot more coming up in this month's market update. Hi everyone, I'm Dan Polimino from KW Big Island and the Hawaii team. And in this month's market update, we're going to start with sales. Home sales are down considerably, as are condos, but a little bit different story. The condo inventory, which really had jumped up, and there were a lot of condos on the market, now has come down. It's dropped by about 20%. Some of that is because the condos sold, but others, for the most part, I would say the reduction in inventory really came down to the fact that some people just decided not to sell. They took the properties off the market and they said they would hold on to it and wait for another day. So that's why we see the reduction in condo sales. But overall sales, whether they're single family or condo, are very slow. And the leverage is squarely in the buyers. People say, well, why are they slow? And the answer is interest rates. The National Association of Realtors predicts that there's about 7 million buyers that are sitting on the sideline waiting for interest rates to reduce. So let's talk about interest rates. Right now, as we speak, in the beginning of September here, they're the lowest they have been in quite some time, averaging about 6.5% for a 30-year fix. That's really, really good. I know for a lot of people, it doesn't sound like it's really good, but here's an exercise that you can try. I went to a conference in Honolulu with our Vice President of Industry, Jason Abrams, and he said, take out a piece of paper. And he said, on the paper at the top, write 651,000. And then below that, write 7%. And below that, write for 30 years. He said, so now below those numbers, write down all of the people that you would lend $651,000 to at 7% interest for the next 30 years. Write all the names down. He said, I'll give you time, go ahead. It'll take a while. And of course, it didn't take a while because there was no one that I or anyone else in the audience would write down where we would lend $651,000 at 7%. I wouldn't do that. I would probably charge 12, 14%, something like that. And I don't think I would do it for 30 years. So the purpose of the exercise, and then he said, hey, if you want to really have some fun, do it again. And then this time, write all of the people down that would lend you money. All the people that would lend you $651,000 for 30 years at 7%. And the answer is nobody wrote any names down because nobody would do that. And yet, the lending industry is willing to do that. And so I guess what he was trying to put across to us is 6.5% or 7% really that bad? Because you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't loan it to anyone and no one would loan it to you. Just a different way to think about interest rates in this climate. The other thing is this really, really bad jobs report for July that was revised down to actually having created negative amount of jobs. And a really bad jobs report of only 22,000 created in August. That means that the economy has slowed too far. And once again, the Fed and Jerome Powell and that group are late. They are late to the switch again in adjusting interest rates. And now the economy has slowed too far. They are going to have a meeting here, and I would expect at the September 17th announcement, look for it, that they're going to cut interest rates by at least 1/4 point, but maybe as much as 0.5 point. The mortgage industry is currently baking in a 1/4 point reduction. So the 6.5% average that you're seeing is taking into an account a September 17th cut by 1/4 point. Could be more, who knows? We'll find out how it all goes. Visitors. In the month of July, visitors were down about 4 to 6% across the island. What it means here for the Big Island is that visitors were down a total of about 8,000. We were short about 8,000. Those numbers come from the Hawaii Tourism Authority and the airlines that are obviously counting seats and how many people are visiting and so forth. And of course, that has a trickle-down effect across, not only real estate, but in my business, short-term vacation rentals. And so when I look at all of the short-term vacation rental companies across the island, I see that everybody has an occupancy rate at about 40%. That's all they're booking it at. Somewhere between 37 and 41% is what we're getting right now in occupancy. But again, This is not our busy season. We are coming into our busy season, right? Once we get to Ironman in October, it should be brisk, right? We should have more reservations. We should have more people visiting. People are coming for the winter, which brings up the next thing about visitor count. A couple of stories out that the Canadians are not coming to Hawaii, that they're boycotting a lot of places in the US because they're upset at President Trump and the US, and they were offended by all his remarks, and so they've written off the US. And right now, the numbers may or may not reflect that. They're down about 4%. We're seeing about 4% less Canadians visiting the Hawaiian Islands. However, as I tell everybody, when it gets to minus 10 or minus 20 in Canada, we'll see how offended the Canadians really are. I have a sense that they may be coming still for the winter. All right, last but not least, the short-term vacation rental bill. There were 3 bills proposed by the County of Hawaii County Council on regulating short-term vacation rentals, not getting rid of them, but regulating them. Of the 3, only one has passed the council, and that is the one that's requiring hosted rentals, meaning that you're living on premises and you're hosting it and you're renting out a portion of your property, that those properties now be registered, and they have to get their TAT and GE license and pay those taxes and have a hosted rental permit and be registered. That's the only one that has passed. The other 2 are still in the works, working on it. Whether or not they'll pass or not, nobody really knows. So don't get too concerned about that. They did conclude a study of short-term vacation rentals, and they found out that STVRs generate about $700 million here for the Big Island, where hotels only bring in about $500 million. So much bigger revenue share, and that meant they concluded that there's no way they could get rid of short-term vacation rentals, which all of us already knew. We already knew that you couldn't get rid of them because it would bankrupt the island. So that's the update. Lot to cover there, lot to unpack. I hope it was helpful. Leverage squarely still right now in the buyer column, but I expect that to change as we get deeper into the season. And your signal to buy is if those interest rates get below 6%. If they get below 6%, everybody and their brother-in-law jumps in. So don't be late to the party, as they say. And of course, if we can help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate, contact us here at the Hawaii team. Call me on my cell phone, 808-987-3306, 808-987-3306. Share these videos with a friend, and please subscribe. Until we talk again, aloha.